What's going on, everybody? Hope your day is going well. If you clicked on this video, you're probably looking to make one of, if not the first resumes you've ever made for one of, if not the first ever jobs you've had. Does that sound about right? Now we're gonna go pretty basic on things today. Do you need a resume for your first job? Yes, you do. How do you make a resume for a first job? Well, let's talk about that. We'll be using the Teal resume builder for our visual backdrop today. This is the end of the intro. So, like the video, sub to the channel, let's get to it. All right, so like I said, we're gonna go pretty basic today. Let's just talk for a bit about why a resume is important. So at the most basic level, a resume is there to get you an interview. That is what it's there for. It's a document that a hiring manager can look at and see that you have the experience to do the job that you're applying for. Now, a great resume can show a lot about you and be a big part of why you get a job, but mostly just think about the resume as getting that interview, getting that first conversation. That mindset is important because one of the biggest mistakes of a resume is just listing like everything you've ever done. And now that might seem like a good idea, but it's just not helpful because a hiring manager only wants to see the things that are relevant to the job you're actually applying for. If you're going for a job in, say, social media, only put things that are relevant. Now, that doesn't just have to be like other social media jobs and internships. If you did like a volunteer community project, maybe at like a food bank, right? Organization, task management, those are what's called transferable skills, and that is completely good experience that applies. Now, one of the questions we see a lot is, do I need a resume for my first job? Yes, you do. It might seem kind of weird if you don't really have a lot of work experience to put. Well, one, you probably have more experience than you realize, and two, it's just kind of one of those job things. A company is going to ask for one. They're not going to take you without one. And again, it's how you show your experience. But what if you don't have any prior work experience relevant to the job you're going for? What makes up the content of your resume? Well, let's take a look at an example. We have an article from Teal's Career Hub pulled up about making your resume for a first job. It's almost like this was planned. If we scroll down a little bit, we have an example of what we're looking for. And let's take a look at this example right here. You can see, first thing, name. Obviously very basic, but contact information, a company has to know who you are and how they can reach you. Right below that, this block of text is what's called a professional summary. Right below that, education. If your academics is your most relevant experience, this is going to come next on your resume. Right below that, skills. Now you don't want this to be like a dumping ground of skills that are, related to the jobs you're after. But what you do want to do is look at the jobs you're after. And this list of hard skills right here, those are the skills that you would want to put in your skills section. But you also want to make sure that whatever skills you have listed, that you're backing that up and showing that with whatever you're listing in your work experience. Now, like I've said before, your work experience doesn't have to be like traditionally employed work experience. In our example here, you can see Berkeley Animal Shelter. We were a volunteer social media coordinator, which ties in experience to the marketing coordinator job that we're going for. And just like any other work experience, we do have all the right details. We have, the company we worked for, the title and position, and then we have some really great resume achievements. This right here is absolutely a resume that you can write up yourself, even if you haven't been, employed in the field that you're going in. Okay, enough theory talk. Let's go ahead and actually write a resume. We're going to use the Teal resume builder here. That's what you're looking at. And it's a really awesome way to write your resume. It kind of walks you through the process. You'll kind of see that as we go. Super easy editing, and I'll be filling this out as we write our resume. We're mainly stressing what main items to include and how to think about what you include. Once we start populating information here, this preview section on the right, you'll see the resume automatically build out. Back over here to the left, contact information. We already have several things populated, but we can hit edit and keep going. First things first is you want to put your name. Obvious. Logan Palmer is one of Teal's demo candidate job seekers, so we have him going here. We have our email, and you really want to make sure that this is correct and accurately spelled because this is probably how you'll get contacted. Next thing is phone number. Now the address, you don't need your whole address, just put city and state, and you want to go ahead and hit save. Now, after contact information, the next thing is a target title. So in the resume builder, we can just click add. And what you want to put here is the title of the job that you're going for. Let's go ahead and hit save. And there we go. We can see our resume starting to populate here on the right. And so far, that's looking pretty good. Let's keep going. Right below target title, as you can see, you can just follow the flow of the resume builder here on the left. Right below target title is professional summary. If we go ahead and click add professional summary, the guidance tab here on the right will kind of walk you through what you want to include. And there's our professional summary. We're going to go ahead and hit save. Now, next step after professional summary in the resume builder, work experience comes up next, but we're going to jump down to education since we have, more relevant education compared to work experience. Add, once again, the right side pops over to guidance to walk you through any advice and tips for this section. And this is our finished education section. We have all of our important details on where we went to school, what we studied, and we even have an achievement down here. Let's go ahead and hit save. And on the right side, education, right after professional summary. Let's keep going. Let's go ahead and scroll down a bit further. The next thing that we're going to add is our skills section. Now, like I said before, we don't want this to be like a dumping ground of keywords, but let's go ahead and look at our job that we're applying for, social media manager. Awesome. And you'll notice the top hard skills here. We have paid social media advertisement, video work, Adobe, the Adobe platform, and Canva. Since video work and Adobe clearly seems to be a high impact marker for this job, let's go ahead and get some of those skills in. If we go back to our resume builder, skills, and add skills, we do have skills in the Adobe Creative Suite, Adobe Premiere, and Adobe Photoshop. We're going to go ahead and hit save. We're going to add a few more in a bit, but as you can see, once we hit save, we can toggle each of these individually on or off, but for this job, we want them all on. 3 skills here, and you can see here on the right that section has been added. Now let's go ahead and leave that for now, but we want to go ahead and add our work experience. So let's scroll back up, work experience here on the left. Let's click add. In our instance, we don't actually have any kind of, employed work experience, but I do want to show you this section. So you're going to start with company name, and then right below that, you can add a position. You want to grab the title that you had, the type of job, whether it was, full-time, part-time, or internship. This would be a great place if you had an internship sometime during undergrad, you can list that here. But in our instance, we're going to scroll down and we're going to add a project. This is a really great place to add the experience if it wasn't traditionally employed experience. And as you can see here, once we click add, this right side again, the guidance section, this is all the detail on, what constitutes a project versus, work experience. You can see here, academic projects, perfect if you're a student, you have a lot of things going on at school. Personal projects, if you're learning the skills for the job on your own time, this is how you can list that. Freelance projects, if you're maybe pivoting in your career and you're doing some freelance work and getting that experience, list it as a project. And then volunteering projects. This is a great way to list your experience. If you're early in your career, you're just out of school, but you've done volunteer work, that kind of applies. And it just so happens that our example is exactly that. So let's go back to our career hub example, and we're just going to copy this whole thing in, and then I'll talk through it. All right, and this is our filled out project. This could honestly be a work experience section. It's kind of dealer's choice at this point, but what did we do? What was our kind of, title? We were a social media volunteer. Organization always gives context to the work, Berkeley Animal Shelter. We have our date range that we were there, and then under additional information right here, we have our achievements. So like we looked at earlier, developed and implemented a social media strategy that increased online engagement by 45%. That is our finished project or work experience. So let's go ahead and hit save. You can see it pops up here on the right, and our resume is looking pretty good. Now from here, some of the things that you probably want to change are maybe some formatting things or rearranging the order of how things pop up. So in the Teal resume builder, if you go up to the top and click the formatting tab, you have some options for formatting. First things first is a set of resume templates. At the top left, you have 4 to click from, little different styling, little different kind of layout. So you can go through that if you want. Right below that, template settings, you can dial in the font. If you're maybe pushing onto a second page awkwardly, you can change the margins. You can get a little bit more space, or you can kind of fill in some of the dead space. You can add an accent color, which can really help just bring attention to particular sections of your resume. And right below that, you have section order. In the Teal resume builder, you can take a section and simply move it around. So in this example, we want to start with our target title. Let's actually scroll back up over here. We want to start with our target title. We want the summary to come next, but say we had a lot of work experience and we wanted our projects and work experience to come up next, we can simply move that section around and it'll update here on the right on our actual resume. Pretty cool, right? Not too bad. Let's go ahead before we forget and rename our resume. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is writing your first resume. It's a lot, for sure. The good thing is the more often that you make or edit your resume, the more comfortable you'll get with how to frame achievements, how to detail a project, and what's going to make the most impact. If you are working on your resume for your first job, buckle up because you do have a long career ahead, and Teal is there to help you along the way. Sick plug, right? No, but for seriously, check out Teal. It's an awesome platform. Great job tracking and management there, resume building, and all the editing you could want here. So do make sure to like and subscribe if this video was helpful. But until next time, take care.